it's fast enough.
Fair enough. SPE, fourth pickup for them. See what they do go into to try and deal with this TA pickup. About a minute reserve time left. By the way, John, just so you know, because you do have your little anime avatar going for yourself, people have been asking in the chat when I'm going to have a My Little Pony avatar going, so I hope you're happy, John.
Oh no, that would be a nightmare to rig. I'm gonna tell you, I don't even know how that would work out.
It's never gonna happen.
We could get you one.
No, John.
Are you sure? No.
Yes, I'm very sure, John.
That's
we're
a
not.
shame.
Southfield Esports, fourth pick for them. 30 seconds reserve time left. Again, they don't really have a way of dealing with the TA right now, and I realize you've already kind of pointed this out. What do they want? Do they need a way to burn through the refraction? Well, for now, they're going to go for the axe, which I suppose you have battle hunger, but that isn't the greatest way in the world. It looks like they just wanted the hero overall in that off lane, so fair enough, you've got the axe now. I still feel like this TA is going to have a very good time throughout this game if it is left unchecked as it is right now. I'll see if they do get something in that last pick to try and deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you have Battle Hunger to burn through Refraction slowly but surely. It's a steady DOT to kind of compensate for that. Call is pretty good against these physical sort of cores as well, like the TA. So you do have some decent burst back damage. But you do have to still build off of this. Like, the team fight's starting to line up. The axe timings are pretty sensitive. You could maybe flex it, safe lane axe, or at least going for that Manta build-up axe. It has been nerfed a bit from the sub patch, so it's not as insane with the spin chance anymore, but it's still pretty potent. We have seen some people still give it a shot, so we'll have to see what SBE opts for there. But this last pick is going to have to tie in this draft. Like, it's still not amazing against a TA. You still need something for a bot to really show himself off here.
Absolutely. SBE, final pickup. 5 seconds left to think about this one. Not really much time. Yeah, they need to win this game to force the series further, and they're going to end up with a Drow. Interesting pickup, right? Because you are going into the Tiny. You've got a TA there as well who's almost guaranteed to pick up a Blink Dagger. So you've already got a bit of catch for that Drow Ranger. It's certainly not going to be the freest of games here for a Bard on that Drow. And now Omega with this last pickup should be able to just get another position 1 that can kind of just jump the back lines. You do have option. Well, in fact, I was about to say you have the option for a PA, but that was actually banned out by Omega. You could probably find something else that the Drow does not like to play into quite easily here for Omega Esports. Just a matter of what it's going to be. But now they'll have a think, though.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. You need something definitely with some mobility on hand. You could maybe go for a range core yourself. The option I'm seeing there is like a Luna. Ties in with your Warlock. Kind of ties in with your TA quite okay as well. Gives you some team fight, but it's a really long cooldown. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you just rely on your Tiny here to jump the Drow and get the blink with the TA and kind of get that done. To have your Tiny toss someone in as well and just kind of take care of the backline in that sense. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see with what they close out with. Tino still has a lot of options though. Like, the Faceless Void is still pretty okay here. I think again FV plus Warlock plus Tiny plus Lion outside can be really nice. It also holds the Drow quite nicely. They go with the Nature's Prophet instead. That's another way. Just teleport into the Drow, take her out, maybe build up the Orchid here for Sam H, and go from there. You do have some decent wave clear from South Build, so it's not like you're going to expect the push to be too insane coming out here from Mega. South Build has enough on hand to counteract the split push from Sam H, as long as Marb gets something like the Travels. But this is a really different draft from Game 1. A lot more back and forth. I think this time you can expect a little bit more activity from Omega. Ak is still going to have to farm up, but Tino, even if this is a safe lane Tiny, you still have that burst potential with Avalanche Toss. You can kind of skip the blink in this case, go for your Echo Saber, Agshard, AC, then your crit stick into Daedalus. Sam H is probably the one that we're going to have to watch for. Whether or not he takes it slow or just rushes the Orchid and starts playing around, that's going to set the pace for Omega, because we know max timing. We know the TA needs Blink Deso or Deso Ags, depending on what kind of TA you want to come out here. And of course, the Tiny Saber needs a 20 minutes for Ag Shard and kind of start becoming the right-click core, although you do have that burst early on. For South build, a lot of this game relies on Marb, and we saw Marb do amazing with his right? Like, he rolled around, he was setting up early fights for his team, finding pickoffs. He needs to do the same with a puck. It's a lot easier. His mid lane matchup should be okay. The TA is going to be a bit hard to zone out, but the puck shouldn't be completely bullied out as well. It should be a bit more manageable for Marb, and that's great for South build because he needs to pop off in this puck.
So with that, John, I'll ask you the hard question as we do go into game number 2. Who came out with the better draft, John? Are we going to a game 3, or are we going to end up having a 2-0 victory here for the side of Omega? In fact, hold that hold that thought for 1 second. I've just got to fix something up while we have a chance. But go on.
I'm biased towards that Warlock. I'm just going to lean towards Omega. I think they've got a really great lineup to maximize the Fatal Bonds here. Tiny, TA, heck, even Nature's Prophet with Rat of Nature. If you're in the middle of a team fight, you chain up 3 or 4, and you get the bounces around. That is a ton of damage. And it's just going to make it a bit difficult for SBE to clump up. They will have to play their pace really fast. You need Marb to definitely get that good start for your team. You need him to be able to get his farm up on the puck, get his levels up, and you can see Marb being so confident. He's dropping items on the ground. It's thwarted.
Oh, there you go.
It's a trap.
Map hacks would be bad if Mar was correct, but hopefully that's not the case here as Omega. Tino got to be a little bit cautious. Senki and Samael are running right into him, and they might be able to land a nice arrow here onto Tino. They're going to show themselves. Samael, he'll go for a right click, but that's going to be about it. Just back right off. So no real attempt out from SBE to really get some significant damage off. Though I'm sure they'll have plenty of time to do that in the laning stages. This bot lane does look quite detrimental to the side of Omega Esports. You've got Enryu there with Samael on the Mirana Axe. I think the Tino's Tiny might struggle a little bit. There is just so much kill potential here for the side of SBE in this bot lane.
Yeah, they can definitely run this down. I mean, you've got a Tiny plus Warlock lane here for Omega with Tino and CML. Not really the best kind of lane to play around. They're going to have to just shove the wave out with the Fatal Bonds, try to get some splash damage onto Enryu, and that's where the Fatal Bond shines. You split off the free grab cleave damage. It can melt through these heroes early on, so it's already good enough to at least get some initial farm on Tino. But once you hit level 2, level 3 on the Axe, on the Mirana, once you get maybe a couple points in your spin, that's when it gets scary. You're not always going to have the mana to get the Avalanche toss-off early on, and there's only so much a Warlock can really do with Shadow Word and Bond. If you're not playing aggressive, you're not a very good defensive dual lane either here.
No, you certainly are not. Of course, mid lane, you've got Marb there up against Mac. Right now, Marb having a very nice time on the puck, 7-1. Mac, obviously, on the TA, I imagine won't struggle too much, and of course, if you do end up struggling in the laning phase, you can always just kind of go back to the jungle anyway as that Templar Assassin and just kind of flash farm it up. But now Mac is catching up quite nicely. In fact, now overtaking Marb. I suppose there is some kill potential in this lane as well. Overall, I think Mac on the TA should be just fine, and I can't really imagine Marb dying either on the puck unless either of these two make a mistake.
Yeah, it's all down to positioning, and every single time Marb comes in aggressively with a Rift and Illusory Orb, he can get punished real fast. So, got to be really cautious with how he trades against Mac. Looking pretty good on TA. The one thing that Marb does have on top is his mobility, so you can kind of use that to leverage, grab his runes out, and kind of go from there, but he's not really able to deny off yet. I think the same thing kind of goes here. Like, we were looking for the Earth Spirit to maybe grab the Bounty Rune down the line just to ensure a better mid, and that's probably going to be something we need to see from the puck as well, just to ensure a good start here.
Sam H and Shanks as well at the top lane, going to be up against Zenki and Abad. Zenki, he will be able to get the Courier of Shanks because he was a bit preoccupied trying to secure that small camp, and they are going to be able to get an Earth Spike out onto Zenki and a bit of harassment. Zenki's still going to run forward though, and that was not the right idea. Perhaps assuming Sam H was not around on the Nature's Prophet, they will not be able to finish him off anyway. Zenki going to be fine to back off and salve up, but a small error there from our Clockwork does cost him quite a bit of HP.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, and I suppose as long as the Bard is farming just fine on the Drow, you're happy.
Yep, I think you're going to be worried about how fast Sam H builds up here, though. If he's allowed to hit his level 6 just fine, get the levels up on the Nature's Call, go around the map, get some rotations off, that's when it gets a bit dicey, SBE. So I think an even start for Omega is actually much more favorable for them. You really want to leverage the spot for Drow lane.
Oh boy, that was a rough set of events there for Shanks. He runs right into Zenki and a Bard. He misses the Earth Spike. And everything just kind of falls apart there for Shanks. Now Sam H is going to cop so much damage out from a Bard, but eventually we'll be able to TP back to the fountain and get a free reset. You can already see Zenki on the Clockwork is trying to be very disruptive towards Mac, just trying to block the stack that is trying to occur here, and well, he will successfully do so. That is one way to slow down Mac on the TA, is just ensure he cannot stack up that triangle, and well, Marb already giving the tips over, letting him know about it as he tries to get some more damage out. TP in from Shanks is not going to make it in time to get the Hex off, but it will give Mac a free full bottle up on that TA, and they might even keep trying. Marb does get hexed up. Shanks does land the Earth Spike. It's not going to be enough damage, but it'll still be a substantial amount.
Yep, you're kind of compensating for that lack of regen. This is Marb playing really nicely, but he has to still be cautious. Every single hit coming through from Mac is starting to hurt. The casual Blightstone with level 2 side blades up is really enough to rip through a hero like the Puck. So holding steady, still rather even here.
Bot lane, Enryu was going for a very deep dive. Meanwhile, top lane, Zenki does end up dropping it. Now Sam H still trying to go after a bat. He eats the Fairy Fire with the salve out, and he's going to survive. Get a Bard on the Drow. Definitely more bad news coming out now for SBE, and well, unlike last game, Omega Esports, they're having a much better start.
Yeah, it's much smoother. They don't have the network lead though, and the triangle you mentioned, that's going to be a bit painful for Mac. So I think they still need to settle out some of these resources early on, just to ensure they have a smooth start. You already see Zenki kind of working his way here, but the kills are just coming in, and we managed to find that kill once more. It's always nice for the side of Omega. Just having Zenki gone bit is really smooth, and SBE, they need to figure out what they want to do. Like, Zenki shows mid. He doesn't really have a good angle to approach here. They do have Dream Coil on Marb, but there is vision. Makes it just extra hard to approach that mid for the gank.
Ryu trying to go for a deep dive onto CML, but the Avalanche Toss is going to fly out. CML, he turned around for a Shadow Word, and it should be enough to kill off Enryu as he tries to run, but the T1 tower damage quite a bit. The Shadow Word's still going. The Vanguard actually keeps him alive, so Enryu is still just fine as mid lane. They found Marb on the puck, but Tino is going to keep the chase up. Try and really get this Axe dead, but in the end, it looks like he's going to be just fine as Tino could not find where he went, and bit of a missed opportunity there from Omega. Still, while that was happening in the mid lane, they did end up losing their mid puck, which is not very good news for SBE, that's for sure.
No, you can see Marb after that just goes up top. He's got the Dream Coil, he really wants to use it, so we'll see if he finds that angle up here.
They barely miss out on spotting each other out. A Bart is going to get jumped on again. Shanks coming in from the backside. Will still jump on the Drow to make sure they get the kill. And now, well, Marb with the Drow gone, can't really do too much to help out. He can't secure the kill on the Prophet. Hex is out from Shanks, and yeah, Marb, he cannot continue the chase. And that is a very unfortunate start to the game for Marb, who he just died. Like you said, he came up top to try and commit the Dream Coil, but he gets nothing for his trouble. And every other lane is still going just fine for the side of Omega, so this mid puck is really struggling to set the tempo of the game.
And that's what we need to see from Marb. He needs to be the tempo setter. He needs a better start. He needs to find those pickoffs with a Dream Coil. Maybe time to expend a smoke. Look at the other lanes. I'd say your softest, easiest target's probably Tino. It's a tiny, he doesn't have too much armor as long as he's away from the tower. And
they
you can
get the
kind of play
arrow.
with Enryu.
Call out. It's going to be a fair bit of damage. Tino, he'll throw the Avalanche in, and CML with the Shadow Word will be able to keep him healed up. Seems to be the main issue here for SBE is they can't quite burst down the Tiny. And the thing is, if they can't burst him, that level 3 Shadow Word's going to come in from CML. And it is going to almost guarantee that Tino is fine. As now top lane, Zenki has been caught out. Sam H able to get another kill on the Prophet. That's the third one of the game for Sam H already. And while that's happening, Mac, he's forcing in the tier 1 mid tower. It's just every lane is really going quite poorly here for SBE, as they are struggling to keep control of the map already. Omega, though, they're doing a great old job.
Yeah, they've controlled up every single part well.
Oh, and Barty showed up in to try and defend. He's being jumped on right now by Mac and Sam H. They might still be able to get the trail kill, and they do as Mac. He is meant to be falling right now, but the finger comes out. Shanks will be able to get Zenki. Mob is just going to try and run away, as Samael shows up now on the Mirana, but it's not going to be enough damage to get Shanks maybe with the last hit they do. But Samael almost drops in the process. Meanwhile, Mac, he finds the courier of Mob. A complete mess in the mid lane, but it does certainly favor the side of Omega. As they just back out, there is no reason to rush. An interesting kind of build-up here from Mac, by the way, John. He's going into the Dragonlance on the TA, so just wanting that extra attack range, which I think should actually pay off quite nicely into the draft of SBE.
That's the attack range and definitely the stats. Like, having that additional strength always feels good for the TA. We're seeing Mac really play on the edge, and having that little bit more leeway can really help him just sustain himself, get the damage off in these fights. It helps you maximize your Warlock heal as well. If you have more HP, there's a bigger window for CML to drop that Shadow Word, sustain you in the middle of it, and it just enables TA to play it slightly faster. So you're lining up those early timings here. SBE, I kind of see an opportunity for Tino, but they don't have the smoothest initiation. Zenki's not yet 6. They didn't quite have Marb around. So they just kind of stare at Tino, which is honestly a bit of a waste of time. You've got 3 heroes here. You're invading the jungle a bit. You need more farm. And he's so close to that blink. Just try to buy time to get that blink up. Then you can start playing around with your axe. You need to watch your objectives, though. Top lane is being shoved in by Mac. And with an NP and TA, it doesn't take long for those towers to melt, as we saw down mid.
Certainly does not. Another easy tier 1 tower here from Omega, and this is one of the real strengths about their draft as well. Once they take off, it's very hard to slow them down. Every core they've got just kind of snowballs out of control, and we haven't even had Tino joining in the fights yet. He's still trying to get that blink up. But once that blink is there on that Tiny, the game becomes infinitely harder for SBE. As they are still going to that top tier 2 tower now as Marb, he orbed in. He'll take a bit of damage, more TPs to come. And it's not going to amount to any kind of kill. It's just going to try and force back the side of Omega, but Mac, he's keeping that siege creep alive, is not allowing it to drop. They've got to TP even more in. Is now a nice hook shot in from Zenki, but he can't get the cogs pushed back off. Dreamcall's going to be there. Zenki's still chasing down the TA, and now Enryu going to be able to get the call off the finger. Zenki's already dead. Maybe they get the TA, or maybe not, as Mac is still running. Refraction out, but there's your dunk out from the axe just to make sure. Now Samael, a nice arrow out, does catch out Shanks, and Abad even going to show up with the split shot. They will be able to secure 2 for their trouble. But it does cost them 5 heroes to make that happen.
It's still worthwhile. You definitely needed to put a lid on that TA. You get some important kills for Marb to build up. He has the Witchblade running, he has a good amount of damage, he's trying to work onto the ult. So once you have that, you don't need to worry too much about the control. You can apply your own control as well, apply your own setup. The split push is still coming out from Omega though. Sam H bails, goes bot, all the tier 1's gone now from SBE. Kind of the opposite end of what we saw in game 1, where Omega lost their tier 1's early. Down to Omega maybe playing around with some momentum. Next, although the hook.
Nice hook shot there. from CML, or rather Zenki. CML's going to be just fine though. Zenki gonna have to back off still. They'll move in now with their puck, but the silence is out from SamH. They'll even drop the golem. Meanwhile on the side, they got Samael on that Mirana. Zenki, he might just die for their trouble, and now they hex out Shanks. He's caught out Marb. Zenryu is gonna try and chase down SamH, but a nice sprout the other way as Tino comes in with the avalanche toss. There's your silence out with the earth spike, and SamH, he gets a double kill on the Prophet. He's going straight into the Academ Scepter after this Orc that he's picked up. This game, it's just looking worse and worse as time goes on. As mid lane, a butt's been caught. SamH, he should have enough with the Orchid. And the tree toss. It will be enough. As SamH now is going to try and run away from Samael. Zenki, he does have a hook shot, but they won't need it. They land a nice arrow. They even found the T8, so they commit the hook shot now with the Conks push back Mac. Can he fight back? The call is out from Henry to lock him down. Mac is all surrounded by himself. And those are two nice pickoffs to get. Like, they lose their drow, but they at least get something for their trouble. And an immediate smoke up now from SBE. They're going to try and press the advantage. Into the mid lane, it looks like they go. They might be able to catch out Tino on this Tiny. Shanks, he gets a nice hex off though. They have caught out Marb on the puck, but a nice silence in from a Bart. Gonna make sure they can't finish off the combo. Meanwhile, CML does drop on the Warlock, but they're gonna lose Marb for that. Meanwhile, a Bat, he is still going on to SamH by himself. Now the call in from the backside. Henry, you're trying to help out. There's a toss back with an avalanche out from Tino, but it's not gonna be good enough. A Bart still goes to work. A nice Earth Spike is gonna save the day as now Mac is gonna come back in onto the axe with the Meld Strike. Henryu, he's gonna melt. Mac now onto a Bart, wants the Drow Ranger. Does he have the damage with the Earth Spike control? He definitely will, but Mac, he is dropping so darn low, but it's not gonna be low enough. He is still running away and does have another refraction. They get Tino on the Tiny. Mac thought about going back in, but the Urn Charge is gonna burn through the refraction, and another double Earth Spike out from Shanks. Gonna try and hold them down as Mac is trying to find a way back into this fight. He will go into the Mirana. Samael drops. Zenki, he's going to try and run himself now, but it looks like it is all over for him. He's going to drop a Shanks. If the man just keeps juking and jiving and landing some great stunts out on this Lion. And it looked like a great start for SBE, John, but they just lose so much in the process of trying to chase down Omega.
And this is where you see teamwork really come into play. You saw how low Mac was dropping. You saw how low Tino was dropping. He still blinked in. He still got the avalanche. He found a Bot as well.
Oh,
they just managed to find everything.
Tino solo killing off the Drow Ranger. A Bot dropping. Henryu and Marb forced to just kind of dream coil there to make sure that they got away from Mac. And Mac does have the full Desolator up now, so the damage output has just skyrocketed for this TA as Omega will go for a bit of a look around, see if they can find an easy pick-off here for their TA. SBE, they're going to go back into their jungle and just try to hide for now as it's like Omega, they might be ready to start a Roshan. Hookshot is there. Tino, though, he's in with the avalanche toss onto Samael. They're going to blow him up immediately. Meanwhile, on the south side, CML, he does drop. So they do get the Warlock. Does end up being a 1-for-1 with the buyback committed from Samael. Now a smoke up, SBE. They're not going to find Mac. He did have that Invis rune up. SBE understand how important it is to not give away that Roshan.
It's risky for them to counterfight, though. They don't know where the Warlock is. Golem's going to ruin them.
Oh, Tino's in. Avalanche tosses out. They've got the clockwork, but a nice call in from the Axe. Henryu going to get Golem dropped. Shanks does have the figure to blow up the clockwork. They're going to find Henryu anyway. it's just all over the place. Tino now, Avalanche out with the toss back on the puck. Marv's going to try and find a way out. He'll commit the coil and they might be able to turn now as a nice arrow does connect, but the force staff is out onto the Lion to try and force Shanks out of there, but eventually he is going to die. Hookshot away now, right onto Sam H, who was trying to come in from the backside, does get punished for it, and now Tino, he tried to jump in on the Tiny. He's trying to run now as Mac is going to try and block the pathing of SPE, but Zenki's going to keep going onto Mac. They have the cogs up. Mac, he's still going, still trying to fight. Sign placing the cogs. Abart is not done yet, but Tino's back in now. Avalanche toss out. Abart about to die, but not quite yet as Mac is still being chased down. He'll try to turn on Enryu. The dunk is not going to be enough. He was over the threshold. The Shadow Word healing him up meanwhile all this is happening. Enryu, he's going to die. Marv is going to try and chase down Mac now. The meld strike, not going to land. They have the phase shift. The cogs push back though. Is that going to be enough? Marv orbs away, but he's not on the low ground. Still the gust comes in, but it is not enough. Mac finds another. Zenki trying to chase him down. The meld is there. Zenki gets meld strike. Mac is still alive as he goes for another. He will survive through all of it. How does he do it, John?
Oh my god.
How's he doing it?
Omega. Two fights in a row now where they really spread his damage well. Mac drops low and then Tino comes in at half HP, gets the toss, breaks up the fight, splits it into two. Mac just jukes around. The dunk from Enryu not being on point really cost him that fight. And now the Roche has opened up. Sure, there's no Golem, but there are no heroes from SBE. And with the Desolator up, the Roche absolutely melted the TA and NP. So it's going to be a nice Aegis coming out for Omega. But Omega's not resting yet. Tino's just walking around. I love this build-up in his core Tiny. Just blink, force. He knows he's not the win condition. He knows he's not the big core that needs to be farmed at this point. He's there to ensure that everything's at the right spot.
Avalanche toss not quite on the mark, but they have the Orchid, they have the Earth Spike, and they have the Finger. That's the 5th stack of Finger for Shanks now. He's got plus 200 damage on the Lion already. And that is going to feel quite rough for the side of SPE, as he's even level 14 already on this Lion. That is insane.
And he has been so on point. Like, ever since that one missed Earth Spike in lane, he's just been on point afterwards. And
yeah, he's been caught out again. He's going to try and back, but another nice Earth Spike in from Shanks, and that'll be the Drow Ranger gone. Zenki, he's going to hook shot in onto Tino, but they have the Orchid, and they just blow him up. CML, he has the Golem still. So if they do want to try and counter-initiate, you're going to have the Golem to worry about. And with the Shadow Word, he just keeps resetting everyone. As they go in for more now. Tino. He found Marv. Mac. He's going to try and run. Samael, a nice arrow, but Shanks is in again. He gets the Hex off. It's not worth the kill onto the Tiny. Enryu's now being caught as well. He's going to try and back off, but there's no chance in hell. Omega are just cleaning them up.
And Tino, man, he's just force-safting around, blinking in. He is literally just throwing his body forward to give kills to Mac. Like, it doesn't even matter if the Tiny doesn't find it. It doesn't matter if the Tiny dies. Mac is way too big to deal with. He doesn't even have a BKB yet. He's got the full Hurricane Pike first. He knows he can get away without Spell Immunity. They just can't touch this TA at this point. Just way too much damage, way too tanky. And they can't defend their objective, so you're in a tough spot now, and they catch Zenki out.
Yep, Sam H just on the mark. And of course, Shanks has always been there to back him up on this line pretty much every single time. There's now a Bard. He's been scanned out. They know where he is. He's in the tree line somewhere, and Sam H is going to scout him out with the Sprout. The TPs are in to try and help him, but here comes Shanks with the Earth Spike. They catch out the Drow again. Tino going right for the target as the Golem drop, and the Fatal Bombs just blows them up. But he's gone. A nice call in from Enryu, but it's probably not going to be enough. The Shadow Word healing up Sam H again, and Enryu, all he can do is run. Just run away. 14k net worth lead now from Omega, as this game is looking more than over.
Enryu, he's not safe.
No, he's not. He's trying to creep skip, but Sam H is going to spot him out. Sprout a bit off the mark, but he's got the treants around now. And with Tino in with the Avalanche toss, it's going to be more than enough. They're onto the high ground already. Hookshot in from Zenki, but can he actually get the kill? The arrow going to be off the mark. Zenki drops for that. Sam H now Gets the Orchid off. That'll be another. You can't afford to miss arrows like that.
No, unfortunate pushback. The angle wasn't quite right coming through. Their high ground's under siege now. They don't have Dream Coil for 10. I don't know if they can actually hold. You can run down the set. You don't have Aegis, so you might just pull back after. Why would you? You're all relatively healthy. Golem's going to be up in a minute and a half, so you won't have that in the team fights. It doesn't even feel like they need it. As long as you get a good Fatal Bonds and a controlled Seraph, you can find these kills.
Tino, he found a bot again. This Blink 4 stuff, the mobility from Tino, it's just been so effective up against this Drow, and it kind of takes you back to the early days of Dota 2, as the GG has been called now. SBE, they know it's over. And that'll be, unfortunately, SBE leaving the Loopet Pro Series Season 6. But I was telling you, John, it reminds me back of the early days of Dota 2, back in TI1, TI2, where you used to see Dendi going for these very kind of mobile item builds on pretty much every single hero he played. And it was always the Blink 4 stuff he would rush. And Tina kind of just emulated that kind of item build up. And as you can see, against the Drow, it was just very effective.
Yeah, he just played spectacularly well. He always found a backline. And we were talking about it from draft. Like, the Tiny was pretty much the answer they needed. They didn't need anything else. He didn't have to go for the right-click Tiny build. All the damage was coming through from Mac. They play around timings well. Sam H was super active on the map after he managed to get a couple of items up. And Mac, despite the back and forth coming out from Marb, still managed to recover. Like, they still got the stacks off in the Ancients, cleared it out with a DD, came out from there, and they just came running. Unfortunate for South Built, and they've been having a tumultuous time. Group stage didn't go too well. The DPC performance as well was, I don't think, up to their expectations, of course. So they're going to have to regroup around for the next time around. We might have an interview. I'm waiting for admin to clarify for us yet. But before anything else, of course, I have to give a thanks to our sponsor, Mate. Thank you to Mate. A natural energy drink. It's caffeine reimagined. Try Mate today, and get more day, more night. You can make sure to join the giveaway. There is a giveaway for Mate. It runs for 10 minutes after each year, so make sure you enter the giveaway by typing in !Mate in chat. There are 8 giveaways to. There's actually 10 winners a day, 2 cases per winner. There are 8 cans in a case, and a total of 100 cases over the next few days. Of course, all of Asia and Oceania are valid, so this is a rarity for us in C. We don't tend to get too many giveaways in Southeast Asia, but this is your chance. Join the giveaway for Mate. It's a great energy drink. Give it a shot. It's gonna keep you energized for the rest of the day, Mike.
It is very rare, John, that Oceania actually gets involved in giveaways, or at least we're invited to join. But I'm very happy to see that Mate has gotten us involved for once, so even I can join the giveaway, which feels very, very good. Still with that, we are going to, I believe, I know we're still waiting on a winner's interview, but it looks like we're probably not going to have one for this series at least. So I believe we are going to head off to a short break and, of course, come back with our next series. Now, in case anyone wasn't aware, the next series is going to be SMG up against Lil Gun, which should be a pretty hype matchup and maybe a little bit closer than the one we just witnessed here right now. Of course, for Omega, congratulations to them. They make it through to the lower bracket, round of 2. And for South Build, unfortunately, that will be the last we see of them in the Loopet Pro Series Season 6. Till then, though, John, it might be a slightly longer break than we're used to because we did finish about an hour early for our first series. But I'll try and update you guys on the break time when we do know exactly how long it's going to be. Till then, it is MLPDotA on johnxfire. We'll be in the chat cat jamming if you want to hang out. Otherwise, we'll see you all again very soon for SMG versus Lil Gun.